Welcome back, everybody. There it is. National championship graphic there. North Dakota State beating Montana State on Monday night. And how about this? We got the man himself in studio, fresh off your TV show. How did that go? Everything go okay recording that this morning?
Yeah, it was interesting, right? Because you just like to be up there in a national title T-shirt and just like showing the joy. But no, it was really good to get with Sam one more time. I mean this. It's been a fun year. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's easy. I mean, there's a lot of hard work and stuff, but you get back here and the amount of media stuff that I have to do as the head coach and getting to build a relationship with Sam. But all you guys have done such a great job in covering us. And there's things that we can put out there in recruiting and hey, here's the proof. We get covered. You are a big deal. It's just been a really neat, rewarding year that way.
Give me the reaction. We talked on stage. We talked in the press conference. Getting back into the locker room, what was that moment like?
Well, it takes a long time. It's not like even a big game in a regular season, right? Like you play, you do the media, you run in there. No one coaches you or teaches you what to do after winning a national title, so you just take off running in whatever which way direction. Thank God I ran into ESPN. But once the press conference concluded and you got to go in and see the guys, there's no words that you're going to say that are going to be real impactful, but you just want to show an appreciation for the leadership and the support, the supporting cast, and it was awesome. It was a pretty good celebration.
Especially with those seniors. I finally saw actual emotion from Cam Miller after the game, and that was something that, we were there Saturday night at the Endless Peyton banquet, but Kevin Miller told me that Cam said to him, you know what? This is fine. I want the one on Monday night. And I know he talked to you about that as well.
Yeah, I texted him right when it was announced. I grabbed my phone and just texted him the word good. From Jocko has a big deal on, good. Like adversity, yeah. Didn't get it, disappointment, move forward, good.
Yeah.
And so that was more than – it was disappointing for him because I really did believe that he was for sure the best quarterback. But that is an award for the best player. And I guess that's an argument one way or the other, but I thought Cam would handle losing it or not getting the award really well. I just thought maybe he would dig into some notes one more time, and he most certainly did.
He looked at me 3 times, Tim. He said, I'm really excited about Monday night. I can't wait for Monday night. I'm really looking forward to Monday night. He said that to me Saturday.
I got that impression like last Thursday or Wednesday. It would have been okay if he felt like there was a little more prep and stuff. And I think at that time, he really felt like he had a pretty good handle on their looks and the game plan, and he was really enjoying it.
You may have seen this. I'm sure you did. His last 2 games as a Bison, 378 passing yards, 214 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. Talk about playing your best when it mattered the most. And you've been around endless great players. That's just about as good as you can get, no?
Well, I think, in today's football, right, it's really hard with the offenses. Like, you can score points multiple ways and the triple options and the screens. And, he's done it. We've done it with pretty straightforward football where you need your quarterback to play like that, and he did. And for him to prepare the way he prepares, I know Randy's talked about that. His accuracy is just unbelievable. Even his misses are very rarely poor. And so to get that kind of play out of him in a national championship type game 3 weeks ago, and to get that play out of him last night, that was probably going to be needed. We could have went some different directions and put the ball in other people's hands, but Cam wanted it, and he did it.
19 of 22 in a championship game. That's pretty darn good.
Really good. Good. And then, even like when some plays weren't there in the past game, he found yards scrambling too, and that's critical. I think that's a mark of an experienced guy. But the accuracy all year and the completion percentage and that performance was one for the history books.
We'll get to Bryce in a second. You mentioned this to me on stage after the game about the couple catches that Raja Nelson had. I think fans will go back and when they watch the game, like, boy, those were huge. Both of them were monster catches in the game.
Yeah, and the sail route, going to the sideline, the diving catch, the third downs, snagging the one slant out of the air over the middle.
Yeah,
on his
good.
Really good. It was interesting. Like, I kind of, in some ways, I don't feel bad because they're all part of the team. But like, it's either Raja or Bray or Raja, right? Like that are going to be that contributing or that second part of the pass game as we went through the season, and he was magnificent.
Bryce Lance was pretty darn good. I know you've talked about it ad nauseum about the prediction he made on his year, capped off in the best possible. I thought it was fitting. He was the guy, the hands team, who recovered the onside kick because he did everything else for you the last couple games.
Yeah, that was a little bit timely, right?
Yeah.
But it seemed like, I don't know, has it been 4 or 5, 6 weeks in a row that he's made a great catch.
Yeah.
And he's making a name for himself.
This one here on the monitor. So give me your viewpoint. To me, how is this not a touchdown? He's got everything and possession of the ball, no?
Kind of like the new punt rules, though. It's all about the ball now.
Okay.
It's less about
where it's at?
Yes.
Okay.
Less about where the body is.
Okay.
That was confusing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if they were reviewing, is it a touchdown or is it a catch? And they were strictly looking at the spot. But that was going to cause some issues because we were out of timeouts now.
Yeah.
And my gut was like, okay, let's just sneak it in. Well, if we sneak it in and don't get points, you look pretty stupid. And so that was really, we were working hard during that break.
That throw there, by the way, to throw the ball on that play was to go back in that decision to do that.
That's kind of what I was alluding to. We had to throw it.
Yeah.
If you were looking at it from the point of trying to get points and 3 points first in any end of half scenario, right. Okay, it's always 3 first. Take care of the ball. Don't give it back to them. But then we got down there. I figured with 12 seconds, we had opportunity to take 12 shots. Now, Dom, if there would have been 18 left, we would have attempted to run it and then run our field goal team on in the Mayday fashion.
Okay. Because when you got the ball back after you got the stop, I'm like, well, if they can sneak 3 here, it's great. And then you guys got to about inside the 20. I'm like, well, they're going for 7 here. They're not going to try for 3.
I think I have to look at that. I want to look at that. But we might be like 6 of 7 getting touchdowns in that exact same scenario this year. When we've been
when you
into
say it, yeah. Pretty darn good.
I think it's really important for the fans to know. I'd like them to know this, right? Like when we start an end of half 2-minute scenario, it's always the first thing is end the possession with the ball in your hands. That's the first goal. The second goal is to put 3 points on the board. And then the third part of that is, let's get as many throwing attempts or touchdown attempts as possible to get 6 points.
I did not have a chance to ask you about the Cam run. Was that a design play or just he see it and go?
Yeah, we did that 5 or 6 times, early in the year. And it was one of those things Jake felt really good about because we had went away from it. Most people look at common opponents, the last 4 games, the last 5 games, and we had South Dakota State twice. They probably looked at Montana State, and we hadn't done it in those games.
Yeah.
And that was a quarterback draw with 2 basically blitz beaters, quick game beaters that he could throw to, and they were in 2-man bracket coverage with the safeties and everybody's eyes on receivers, and we did a good job of creating a seam in there, and he's gone.
The Red Sea parted. What's your reaction when you see that line he goes?
Is he fast enough to score? Because we know Cam's he's a good runner, but he hasn't had that many scenarios. It reminded me so much, honestly. The first play that came to mind was Easton Stick, 2-minute drive to open up against Iowa. Now we did it out of trips formation.
Yep.
And it was the exact same defense. It was 2-man, and we opened up with like a 40-yard
Easton
game.
got like 40-some-odd yards after that set up the game-winning field goal. That's a good call back there.
So we've used it before in big moments.
Man, the play this year, I thought of your defensive line. That was something that I thought if you're going to be good, you had to be better there. Cody Heisman had a remarkable turn. Did you see that, or was that just him I'm taking the bull by the horns and playing, I got to play better?
It's kind of one of those deals, honestly, it don't really matter if I saw it because you guys have to report based on how games are going, production. You look really at the facts. And early in the year, we just didn't. It's one of those things I wish we could all get together before a press conference. Hey, our pass rush and our D-line is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But these teams are getting the ball out of their hands so quick. It's a lot of screen game. It's a lot of RPOs. Those don't allow for as many opportunities. When there's run-pass conflict on DNs, there's run-pass conflict on D tackles. And so, we felt pretty darn good. It was part of the reason I felt we would be okay in the O-line eventually, because we knew we were going against good people every day.
Yes. And that turned out, and by the way, you can slam dunk that one as long as you want on how good your offensive line was, knowing what you had at the anchors, but how Griffin Empey played this season, how Trent Fraley played this season, how Jake Rock played until he got hurt. Knocked that out of the park in my mind. I'm not saying that because you're here. I thought I said it numerous times. They were really good.
I think, too, it's interesting because for sure, in the middle of the year, Bo and Jack Lewinsky were coming on so strong. Yeah. They were maybe starting to push Pontius to the side a little bit. And then I tell you, Pontius just kept staying with it. And I actually believe this in my heart. Pontius may have made the most improvement as a practice player that we had out of the group. Weeks 9, 10, 11. Then the injury occurs. And I thought Dan made a hell of a decision to just stay with the veterans, stay with Bison, stay with the Ram philosophy of old guys first kind of thing.
Yeah.
It really good. Those guys really came together nicely. And I think Trent's just getting started. He can play better. He will play better. I'm excited for him. He played great. But his ceiling is still high. And same with Amp. He needs to get a little bigger, stronger yet. And that'll happen.
Did you understand the haircuts the offensive line decided to do?
Well,
some of them?
That's been a tradition, but you guys haven't probably recognized it as much. The hazing thing, we just don't do that in our program. And actually, when I saw it, everybody made the decision that it was okay.
Yeah.
No, never surprised. It's always the Three Stooges haircut.
Right.
The Mohawks come out, the half fades or whatever they want to call them. It's just part of the deal.
Part of the weekend, obviously, is the alumni practice, which you've been part of as head coach. How special was that on Sunday?
It was special. I wish I could have it back because I could have been better when I talked to him. It was so windy.
Yeah, it was nasty
and
out.
That was like the first time. Now, I didn't get emotional, but the emotion a little bit got to me. There were some people there, too, just as fathers. I mean, Gene Taylor and Chris Kleiman, it was so good to see the guys Pat Paschal made it back for his first one. Colton Hagel, I don't want to leave anybody out, but people that have helped us on golf trips around the state, Shane Honenfeld, Jack Stark, Chad Stark. And that's still a really special deal, really cool.
I saw your embrace with Chris. What did that mean I know he was there to see Devin, but to have that, what was that like?
Well, to know Chris, it's just not about him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so genuine. And if you do know Chris, I felt his emotion and his happiness and his, maybe sense of success in helping me, to make the decision to go to Northern Illinois. Because Chris was a big part of that.
Yeah.
He said, Tim, it's time for you to go learn some other stuff. And that was one that I did not want to leave at that time. And we had so many guys coming back. Yep. But going there, that brought a lot of this quarterback run game back. Some of the play action stuff that we did. Rod Carey was instrumental in teaching me that stuff. And to see Chris and to see the job that, Devin's doing, all full circle, it was awesome.
How about that job? What both Devin and Will Johnson did this year in their first year as being position coaches. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I reflected on that a little bit yesterday, just, down in the basement, just taking a day away from everything. Will never wavered. Never once showed concern because somebody was out. Never once had to come to me and say, hey, how do you want me to manage this? Every time I asked a question, he had a plan. And the defensive coaches had a plan. And I think Will is really, really happy. I mean, he's got a bright future, right? And we want him to stay around as long as possible. But I think he was really grateful that he was here.
The reality is you can enjoy this for 24 hours because the reality of Division I football is crazy because we were texting a little bit last night to see if we could do this, that you're going to be recruiting tomorrow. The portal is obviously back open now. Just how is that? How do you handle that now? I know you've handled it do you handle it the same way for these next 5 days?
Well, our players know I'm available to talk. The trend is that they've stayed. But I'm sure there's a lot of thoughts going through a lot of guys' heads, with all this opportunity that's out there. And they're good players, right?
Right.
I'm very hopeful that we keep this group together. But that does cause, they get 5 extra days. It causes a little bit more anxiety. Is your phone going to ring? Is it not going to ring? I love these guys. Our staff loves them. But then we got to switch gears to high school recruiting. And so you just don't get a chance to just put your feet up. I could make that decision to do it. But quite frankly, as much as we're going to enjoy this and ride this and leverage this, we have to move forward and starting to build next year and continue with recruiting.
And you've told me as well, it works both ways. People are calling your players, but also people are calling you to join your football
100%.
Roster.
And it's one of those deals like you're not recruiting off a matrix. You don't know what you have available. You don't know what spots could come open or not come open. So you've told a lot of guys, hey, we just don't have room for that position.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part is balancing, how aggressive are you? Because you want everybody that's on the team to have a shot to be the best they can be. But the bottom line is it's a two-way street now. And as coaches, we cannot just stay stagnant. Okay, we'll wait around and see what happens. You got to be proactive, and that's just the way it is, and that's the world we live in.
Couple last things here. Your thoughts on the Monday night deal. We talked a little bit before the game. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the atmosphere around it was fantastic. I thought watching the game back, ESPN did a big-time job. You had a pregame interview, halftime, postgame. What did you make of Monday night?
I felt like the whole thing was better any other year than I've been there. And I always was very observant of what the head coach had to do, what coordinators had to do. The Monday night thing and it being the sole game is money.
I think so too.
Moving forward,
viewership reflected that too.
Yeah, and I think, even for some guys, holy smokes, like to play in those kind of games, like that is a good level of football. I really like our decision to practice here on Friday and get down Friday, but I'm not even sure that maybe going down Saturday wouldn't be that bad. And I want to talk to Viggs about how he felt like his schedule went. I mean, they're in a little different scenario, but they came down on Thursday. And then to get to stay on Monday night and to celebrate with the administration, our real good supporters. A lot of them were in the lobby. And then, honestly, to get to see some of the parents and the joy on their faces and some of our young guys' parents and get the chance to meet them was awesome.
See, the double-edged sword of it, there's nearly 3 million people that watch, but how many of those are Power 4 coaches saying, oh, I like that guy? Yeah. And not just your roster, Montana State as well, saying, how do we get that guy here? That's the reality of where we live right now.
Yeah, I think that's been going on for a minute now, the last 3 or 4 years, especially with anybody that plays like on the Tuesday night schedule, Wednesday night schedule. The Thursday, Friday games, I was like, we're playing on national TV, but we're playing like as a scouting service. Being at Wyoming and playing in those late night Friday. Every coach in the country's in his hotel room watching our players.
It's just the name of the game right now, right?
It is.
So you got to recruit. When do you actually get a chance? Are you going to the convention, or you get a chance to sit and just enjoy with Jill for a couple days?
Yeah, that's another big interesting topic around us as coaches right now. The convention is so good. It is so good to get back. It's all about relationships. I've said that so many times, but it's in a hard window.
Yeah.
When you think about somebody that's had visits this weekend, and then has got maybe some visits on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Jump on a plane away from family for 2 to 3 days. It just falls in a hard window. I will go because the head coaching meetings and so forth, and then I'll want to continue to try to, increase our pool of young coaches and meet guys and see, their development. Yeah. It's a big deal, but it really falls in a really tough time right now. 2
last things. Craig Bowl was on the sideline. Do you get a chance to see Craig on Monday?
You know what? I saw him just in pregame warm-up.
Okay.
He kind of snuck up behind me. He's like, how you doing, son? And that kind of thing. So it was good just to know that he was in the building. He was wearing the wrong color.
I saw that. He was wearing blue, right?
AFCA, the colors are more blue than anything.
Yeah.
Able to see him, able to see Chris, got to see Matt Entz, happy for him. All those people being down there was a big deal.
I didn't want to eavesdrop too much. What was the moment with you and Viggs before the game? How special was that?
Yeah, Brent usually has a topic or two, we've had so many conversations that the conversation was nothing to do with the game or
right.
A lot to do with the field. I asked him in comparison of the grass, how was it compared to last time? He said it's in much better shape.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, that was a good moment for both of us, and we were going to take the 5 to 8 minutes and do that.
Last thing, I got a photo sent to me last night from former Bison Joe Lund. We're going to bring it up on screen. This is from after the 2011, the first trip down there. How about that? Huh? What do you got to say on that photo?
I see. Is that Dr. Schulte back there?
I believe so, yeah.
Kenny Burns.
I see Kenny Burns in there, yep.
I don't know what the heck chain I'm wearing. Haircut. My hairline's much better.
Looking good.
Yeah.
We're both looking pretty good.
Yes.
That's 13, 14 years ago, man.
The locker rooms have improved a lot.
Yes, right.
That's the first thing.
That was a tight space.
Really tight, and it was like you couldn't see anybody.
No.
You could see 4 or 5 people. I remember guys being on top of the lockers to sing the song.
Matt
and
Feldman, I remember being up there.
Yeah.
It was tight. I mean, for a guy his frame, it was like Shaq trying to get into a mini car, a Cooper.
I remember feeling too, like talking with you, like just that these kids had worked so hard, but like almost not in shock. We believed we could win, but it was pretty surprising to be down there and it all come into a conclusion.
And it happened.
Yeah,
that was the first thing I thought. Like, wow, they did this. That was amazing. Congratulations, bud. I'm super pumped for you to do this in your first year. Your joint Kleiman, Entz did that in their first year. That's pretty good company to be in. I hope you I know you're not getting any time off. You had a little time to relax, so I really appreciate stopping by this morning.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I love where all this has gone and the ability for us to get the story out there and the narrative. And I want to say thanks to all the former players that came down there. We had a bunch of really good guys that were on our sideline that added to the environment. I mean that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the year.
Tim Polasek joining us here in studio. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up here on a busy Wednesday. Back after this.